Tanya's in Denver. Hey, Tanya, what's up?
Hi, Dave. Congratulations on your book reaching #1.
Thank you.
I did pick up a copy.
Well, it's all your fault then. We appreciate you.
Yeah. I have a question for you about investment strategy. I typically do a backdoor Roth.
Me too.
However, I heard you say that potentially that loophole is looking to be closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this, is there concern about doing that backdoor conversion for this tax year? And are you recommending people hold off on doing that or not?
I did mine yesterday.
Okay.
It was part of the Build Back America bill that failed.
Right.
But my comment, I think, in addition that you may have heard, was that that I do think someday it's going to be addressed. That the loophole, it is literally a loophole. I mean, it's not illegal, it's not immoral, but it is it's a loophole. And so I think one of these days somebody in a piece of legislation is going to tack that on the end of it. If they want to stay with the rich people must be punished narrative that generally comes out of the income tax system.
So what would be your recommendation, if and when that does close as another alternative?
Well, I mean, that's closed, so you just got to do other investing, obviously. I mean, I buy.
Yeah.
It's only $8,000. I mean, there's only so much you can do anyway. But and me and Sharon. So in addition to that, I do low turnover mutual funds, and I buy real estate that I pay cash for.
Okay.
You know what a low turnover mutual fund is?
Yeah, it's the ones that they don't change what's inside of it very often.
Right. So there's no taxation on it until you sell it to amount to anything.
Yep.
Because it's basically capital gains growth, like buying a single stock that goes up. You don't pay any taxes on the increase until you sell it. Same thing. And so it gives you tax deferred growth in a sense. And it's capital gains growth at that, which is wonderful, meaning you get tax capital gains rate rather than ordinary income rate. So
it's a good question for these high-income earners where they go, all right, I can do my 401k. I'm not eligible for the Roth IRA. I can do a backdoor Roth.
Let's explain the backdoor Roth.
Yeah. So for a high-income earner,
make over $200,000 a year household income.
There is a loophole to where you can turn it into a Roth by contributing on the traditional side after tax.
Exactly. So you're not allowed to do a Roth IRA if you make over $200,000 a year household income. So what you can do, and it's called a backdoor Roth, and this is the loophole that we're talking about, is you can open and you can always roll, regardless of your income, things into a Roth. You can always roll to a Roth.
If it's on the traditional side, you can pay the conversion.
If you've got anything in there, if you're willing to pay the conversion, then you're going to have that. So anything that no matter what your income is, you can roll stuff to a Roth. You can roll an old 401k, an old IRA into a Roth, and then if it was traditional, then the amount of gain or amount that's in it would be taxable at that point. Now, if you open an after-tax, meaning there was not taxes held out, it's after the tax already been held out of the money, traditional IRA, and instantaneously roll it to a Roth, there's no taxes, and that's called a backdoor Roth IRA. And I do one every year for me and one every year for my wife. It's not a lot of money, but it's that much more that I can get into tax-free growth. The other thing, and that's what you only do that kind of stuff at baby step 7 and beyond, and if you're a high-income earner. The other thing that people do a lot, and I do this as well, is the match at your company is not allowed to be Roth. It has to be traditional. And so once a year, I roll all of my match from my company into the Roth and pay the taxes on that. That is tax. That does create taxes. But I roll it all to Roth and pay the taxes on it, and roll it all to Roth and pay taxes on it. So years ago, I've converted everything into Roth. So all of the money that is in the retirement, former SEPs, former IRAs, former 401ks, everything, anything you've got like that outstanding, when I reached baby step 7, I had extra money, then I would roll stuff to Roth, pay the taxes, because that tax, in a sense, becomes an additional investment into it because it grows tax-free from then on.
Yeah, and that's the goal, is to have all this money without Uncle Sam's hands on it ever again when you withdraw that.
Exactly, and it's growing tax-free. So all the growth I get between now and death is completely tax-free. And an inherited IRA on a Roth, there's no taxes. So because it's a Roth, and so it cleans up your estate plan in that regard too.
And beyond that, beyond all of the tax advantage, tax deferred retirement accounts, things like that, then we move into taxable investments where you're just going to pay, your capital gains rate and all of that. But that can be a great option for those high income earners. And a lot of people do this to retire early. You kind of have that bridge account where you go, I'm going to live off this taxable investment until I can pull out from my retirement.
Exactly, a low turnover, and a lot of ways to get an easy way to get to a low turnover. Easy way to find something with a 5% or less turnover ratio is the S&P 500 index fund. No commission. I dump money in those, additional spillover money, so to speak, in those all the time, and if I leave it there a year before I take it out, whatever growth is going to be taxed at capital gains rate, which in my case is more than 15%, but it's still less than my full complete over taxation. I'm just about to puke when I look at what we're going to pay this year, but